All right, this is the copyright disclaimer. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Part 1. The Night Rodney King Was Beaten. A camcorder in 1991 caught something that would change America forever. On March 3, 1991, after a high-speed chase in Los Angeles, Rodney King, a 25-year-old black man, was pulled over by LAPD officers. What happened next was brutal, and this time it was caught on video. A bystander, George Holliday, filmed officers kicking, stomping, and beating King with batons more than 50 times. King was left with broken bones and skull fractures, injuries so severe doctors were shocked he survived. When the footage hit the news, it exposed police brutality in a way the public couldn't ignore. For many, it was proof of what black communities had been saying for decades. The police were using excessive force, and nobody was being held accountable. But what happened when those officers went to trial? That's where the story gets even more shocking. Find out in Part 2. Part 2. The Trial of the LAPD Officers. 4 LAPD officers were charged with assault and excessive force in Rodney King's beating. But here's the twist. The trial was moved from Los Angeles to Simi Valley, a mostly white suburb, where many jurors had law enforcement ties. Prosecutors showed the graphic video over and over, but the defense slowed the footage down frame by frame, arguing it showed the officers following proper police procedure, not brutality. On April 29, 1992, after 7 days of deliberation, the jury delivered its verdict: not guilty on all major charges. Despite video evidence, the officers walked free, sparking immediate outrage. But the verdict was just the beginning. What came next was one of the deadliest uprisings in U.S. history. I'll break it down in Part 3. Part 3, the L.A. Riots and Lasting Impact. Within hours of the verdict, Los Angeles exploded. For 6 days, the city was on fire. Literally. The 1992 L.A. riots left more than 60 people dead, over 2,000 injured, and caused $1 billion in damage. The National Guard and U.S. Marines were eventually called in to restore order. But the beating of Rodney King and the acquittal of those officers became a turning point in America's conversation about race, policing, and accountability. Later, the federal government charged 2 of the officers with violating King's civil rights. They were found guilty and sent to prison. And years later, Rodney King himself stood before cameras and said the words that still echo today: "Can we all get along?" That was the end of this trial, but not the end of America's struggle with police brutality. Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to like and follow.
All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, and we here give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like it to the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, we're back again with another installment of our camp's series called For Thy Violence Against Thy Brother Jacob. I believe this is installment number 192. And still, we Even though we've had that many, we still only scratched the surface what this devil Esau Edom has done. Today's topic is coming from one of our sites that we use called EJI, meaning Equality Justice Initiative. All right, and today's topic is going to be all white jury acquits officers who beat Rodney King despite video evidence. All right, and we'll put a link to this article in the description box. And without further ado, we'll get into the opening scripture.
So Obadiah verse 10, it says, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Con. And you know, this is speaking this whole chapter. It's only one book in Obadiah, okay, and it's geared toward the destruction of Esau Edom. You know, going through the history of him being exposed. We know in verse 2, was it the ambassador that was sent was to be Gamal Abdel Nasser, the second Egyptian president of in 1952. And he's on record for saying that there will never be peace in Israel because the Jews left here black and they came back white. But this is not just about Amalek. This is about the whole nation of Edom, okay, going down. All right, and then that scripture, you know, again, is talking about Edom and his history being exposed, and that's being done on both foes, both with Amalek and the rest of Edom, okay, on what they've done to the children of Israel. And because of that, you know, like I said, the shame is going to cover them. That's why they're trying to, you know, censor everything, going back and erasing history right in front of our eyes, you know, as we even speak, all right, and putting in measures to continue to oppress us. You know, we just saw a situation, Elon Musk is suing the court to where he can make AI discriminate against blacks, you know, when it comes to loans, home ownership, so on and so forth. These people don't want us to have anything, you know. And you know, they want to continue to oppress us. And because of stuff like that, you know, it says he's going to be cut off forever. Yes, Esau Edom will be eliminated, and they know it too. All right, the spirit, the elites know already, but that spirit is starting to hit the everyday Joe Schmo Edomite. All right.
Precept. Okay. Amos chapter 1 verse 11. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. Yeah, so just to the point that everything that we've brought up since we've been, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have been here in the Americas, you know, living here initially for the Northern Kingdom, the Southern Kingdom brought over on ships, along with brought over on ships and put into slavery. We have seen nothing but affliction, and Esau has pursued us with the sword. From you see the mass unaliving or lynchings. We've seen the you know, where they had carnivals and different things on with the unaliving of our people, and then of course what we're about to go into with the Rodney King beating, which is one of the, you know, one of many, but this became very out in the open to the whole entire world. It became significant, and then shortly after that they started to have the cameras. You know, started to deal with having the cameras on the police uniforms, which didn't do anything but pushed whatever their image of how they were treating and shooting us in the streets even further.
So there was still equipment too.
Yeah, so even with the surveillance and having cameras, they still had no fear of putting the harsh judgment, you know, on our people. And giving them the just due. So the Lord, of course, for them pursuing our brothers out in the streets, unaliving them in the streets, terror perpetually, these things are going to be placed upon their head soon and very soon.
And just a quick add to your point, long before I was in the truth and they was talking about those body cams, you know, you still have the books where they literally took pictures of murdering us. And I was like, man, that's not gonna do nothing. You see the evidence right here. All where they had the mobs come out. We know that those were already police, judges, lawyers, in the neighborhood. And they literally were on camera while this dude was being murdered. So those, a lot of Jake knew that those body cams wasn't gonna mean anything, and proved outright with everything that's happened since then.
Yeah. Precept.
Just real quick. This is the book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 37 and verse 1.
Okay.
It says, "Fret not thyself because of evildoers,
God.
neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb." All right, when you go into that word fret, it pretty much it means to be kindled with anger or be upset. All right, and obviously, we in the flesh, so when we do see these things, we get we get angry at our enemy Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white man. But you can't get to a point where you want to act on it, man. All right, because the description just said, "For they soon shall be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb." Meaning what? All the things that they've done is going to be returned into their own head, man. Yep. All right, like the brother just read in Amos 1:11. The Lord is not going to turn away the punishment. All right, Esau, Edom is going to get, they're going to get paid back for the things that they've done, man. All right, the scriptures tell you in Numbers 35 that this land cannot be cleansed but by the blood of him that shed it, man. All right, so he's done so much bloodshed, and the only way that this place can be cleansed is by his blood being shed, man. All right, so at the end of the day, all right, Esau is going to get what's coming to him, man.
It's to your point, it's tough, man, because he does it proudly. And he not only that, he gaslights it.
Yep.
Like what are you gonna do? Knowing that Jake can take him out,
Yeah. Let me bring this out real quick, and then I'll get this to back him up. This is Hebrews chapter 10, verse 30. It says, "For we know him that have said, vengeance belong unto me." It's Yahushua, right? It says, "I will recompense," which is to pay back, saith the Lord. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. So he's going to judge. He's judging the children of Israel, right? He says he's going to start at the house of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
How much more the ungodly and the sinners, right? How much more these people for all the things that they've done. What I like to say is he said he saved the best for last. He saved the most wicked and abominable nation, on the earth for the final judgment. He says, "It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power." So the things that they've done unto us, when the rabbit gets the gun, when the men of the Lord are able to meditate terror, as it tells us in Isaiah, it's going to be far worse for them than what they've done. So, of course, as it tells us in Lamentations, live it up, because this is your last hoorah, and everything that which you've done, you're going to then see misery as you're seeing it to this day. Go ahead, Romeo.
No, I didn't have nothing.
You didn't? Okay.
Yeah, now I just going to say to your point, man. That's why, when you really read Revelation 1:7, it says, "All eyes shall see him, even those that pierced him." So people who know who we are and know who they are, they know he's coming back for them. And that's going to be a sad day when he hit back and says, "Hey, remember me? Remember what you did?" Because you have to get, like I said, in that day of judgment, you have to give an account for everything, whether it be good or bad. And they gonna make them remember.
And then a couple in that, there's a timeline in which I'm saying when they say, "Then shall they know who are my chosen."
Yeah.
Yahushua returns. We see the strangeness of the salvation of his men, and also with them knowing who are my chosen. You got those of the nation of Israel will then want to come, and I forget the scripture. It says, I roughly paraphrase, it's like when they will be willing in the day of thy power.
Oh.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, they'll be willing in the day of his power. But then you also have the other nations and 2/3 and folks who, who actually will see that, oh, these were the men who were always right, during that time. And that great fear even more is going to come upon this nation, Esau, Edom, to know that, oh, these are the people that we really messed over.
Yep.
And they know it already that we are the people.
Yep.
But once it's be made known to all the world when he takes off fully takes over off that covering cloak, you know, cast off the people, you know, and they really recognize Esau for who he really is,
Yep.
and then the Lord's people for who we really are. Well, we are those men in that part of that number.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, get into the article.
Yeah.
Again, it's on the screen. All white jury acquits officers who beat Rodney King despite video evidence. I was telling Ak when he sent it to me, you know, I was in my 20s, man. I remember that clear as day.
Yeah, and just even thinking about it, like all these men that were involved
Yeah.
and beating on them, just, you know, they're what Elder Malcolm says. It says has a second part two.
Manifest Destiny has
Manifest part two, right?
Yep.
So, you know, in the King, Rodney King, you know, he understanding the story, like he ended up suing and he got paid, jail, got out. He was always in and out of trouble, and eventually he ended up dying.
Yep.
You know, passing away. But he'll be back in the kingdom. He'll be in this righteous state.
Yep.
He'll be, you know, prince. You know, honored, having his women, his servants, and these very men may be part of his servants.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or those that he'll eventually get his licks back.
Yeah, when I was looking for video clips to precede the lesson, his daughter said he was never the same again.
I can imagine.
So because he had brain damage, so that begs to you know, did he really mean what he said? That famous quote.
Yeah.
Can we all just get along?
Yeah.
And then looking for that as well. You know, not to get off subject, the O.J. Simpson trial came right after that.
Yeah.
And the jurors are on record saying, yeah, that acquittal was payback for what happened to Rodney King.
Oh.
Then the Edomite had the audacity to ask one of the jurors, do you think that was right? They're like, what? Are you serious? You that arrogant, you know, to ask that question? What y'all did to us? And then come to find out, like I said, he didn't even do it, but that's another story.
Right.
Yep. All right. Getting into the article, and we'll put a link to this article in the description box. And it says, on April 29th, 1992, an all-white jury in California chose to acquit 3 of the 4 Los Angeles Police Department officers who beat Rodney King during a violent arrest in March of 1991, and cannot agree on a verdict for the 4th officer despite video evidence establishing their culpability. On March 3rd, 1991, Mr. King was driving in downtown Los Angeles when the LAPD pulled him over and began beating him after he allegedly resisted arrest. 4 LAPD officers kicked Mr. King, who was on the ground, and beat him with batons for nearly 15 minutes while more than a dozen law enforcement officers stood by. Mr. King sustained life-threatening injuries, including skull fractures and permanent brain damage. A man standing on his balcony witnessed the violent arrest and captured it on tape. Video of the unrelenting assault was played at trial and broadcasted into homes across the nation and around the world. Just months before the officers were acquitted, a federal court had concluded that Los Angeles sheriff's deputies continued to use racially motivated terrorist-type tactics to violate the civil rights of black people. Still, none of the officers involved in Mr. King's assault faced punishment at trial. Okay, we had to remember, today's police is the modern-day slave catchers. Okay, you look at those 2 badges, especially the sheriff's badge. You look at those 2 badges side by side. Those badges have the 6-point star, which ironically emulates that star that the state of Israelites, you know, use. Okay, and we know for sure now that the law enforcement of America goes over to Israel. Israel comes here to train our law enforcement. So it makes sense for that star to be the same. They're pretty much doing the bidding, as we know now. Our entire government, at every faction, every level, is compromised by the state of Israel. Okay?
And just to make a slight point, because you mentioned them, you see how, like, if you look up in the media, there's people that's bringing out how they're treating the Palestinian. When they get over there, they arrest some of them or gather up those men, and they actually are doing unthinkable things to the men just as much as to the women. One thing that that I came across a video, and the guy was saying that they were actually taking their batons. Not only were they assaulting, SAing these men, they were also taking their batons and putting them up these men as well. And that was a thing too. Like, you had certain instances. I remember growing up of hearing men being brutalized by the police here in the Americas, and made claims of how they took the baton and put it in their back end. So to put that out there like that, you know, it's like, okay, now it makes sense, you know, those type of tactics and where it's coming from, and how harsh and heinous these acts are toward us, because again, they believe that we're just going, like, that they can do whatever they want with us anyway.
If I remember that correctly, I think that guy's name was Abdul Louima.
I remember
something like that.
Yeah,
he was sodomized with a broomstick.
Yeah.
Because I think it's right around the same time they caught this another dark-skinned man in like a stairwell. You know, beat him down and shot him like 40 times. Yeah. But Abdul Louima, I think that was his name. While looking about that.
So they're bloodthirsty, and it comes in that, and a lot of it, they already have it within them. But Amalek just, like you said, when we talk about educate to draw it out, they just help to draw out the violent nature of their own people. Just like on the spiritual side, you know, those of the elect, the men that the Lord sent teaching, you know, to educate is to draw out, you know, what's already in us. You know, it's on the opposite side, left hand side. You know, they know that their people are violent and have that tendency. So it's just a matter of teaching them certain tactics that'll fully bring it out of them to fuel that blood desire that they have, that the scriptures talk about.
There was a term that they were just talking about on the news the other day, where they were saying that it's a term for it. I'll look it up later. Where they said that the impact of slavery, if that was passed down from generation to generation, what about the wickedness of these so-called white people? And it is. You know, it's passed down genetically. They never went away. And they tell you it's all is done away with. That's that devil speaking lies again. You know.
He got something to put.
It's Ezekiel 35:5-6. It says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end."
So you push forward the affliction of our people when you have us in a position of, like, where the Lord has said that they're going to be completely destroyed. We have to come to you for the one of all things, even the justice. You know, we have to then go to you for you overdoing things as far as our body and unaliving us, and then for you to then go back and say we're going to do a full investigation, and it never comes out to anything. This Rodney King is just, again, was the one that was magnified, just like some of the other unalivings that we can go down the line of. He wasn't unalive, but you know, there was Trayvon Martin. You know, just give an example of just George Floyd, how these things, Eric Garner, these things that were just magnified within the media, which just really was to reinforce their terror and control over the so-called black man, so-called white, so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American man. But the head tribe being Judah. So you see that they're the ones that were fully magnified out in the media. Vast majority of them is Judah. He says, so read that again on the show.
It says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel."
So their perpetual hatred is shown through their actions.
Continual, non-stop.
How they would say one thing, you know, they through deceit, they lie.
Precept.
To put you in the trap. Go ahead. You got your precept.
That's real quick. It says, this is book of Psalms chapter 10 and verse 5. I'm going to get straight to the point. It says, "His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them."
Go ahead.
All right, so you know, it said his ways is always grievous, man. All right, the scriptures tell you that the spirit that is lifted up in him is not upright. So anything that he do, especially towards the nation of Israel, is not gonna be good, man. All right. And he was set up to be the wicked, all right, that the scriptures speak about. So nothing good can come from this man.
Right.
All right, he's the wicked that the scriptures speak about. All right, and it says thy judgments are far above out of his sight. What does that mean? All right, he does these things, man, to the nation of Israel, and he doesn't see, all right, judgment from the Lord coming upon him, man. All right, he can't see himself being judged, man. That's going into his pride, man. All right, that's why, all right, they exalt themselves as the eagle, man. All right, we all know that the eagles are a bird of prey, man.
Yep.
All right, that don't really have, all right, many predators, man, that seek after them.
Nope.
All right, and Elder Gabarra, he always brings out the point that he had watched. I don't know if he was watching a National Geographic or something like that, but the eagles, when they're flying so high in the sky, all right, they don't really have to look above them to look out for something preying upon them, man.
Nope.
Yeah, they're always the ones that are looking down to prey upon others, man. All right, that's why in the same scripture, it says his eyes are privily set against the poor. All right, and that's what Esau does, man.
Yep.
All right, but soon come, all right, this dude is gonna get everything that he deserves, man. All right.
Yeah. There's something here you had mentioned. You said,
That's thy judgments are far out of his sight, and as for all his enemies, he puffeth at them.
Yeah, and just back up your point also, is that they took pictures when you talked about like they don't think about the judgments to come.
Right.
They took pictures of us hanging cut off members for memorabilia and sent them off.
Pass it down.
And passed it down throughout their generations, thinking that nothing was going to come of it. So now, don't want to get too far off, but now you see from their own women, from the other nations, and everybody is pulling out. Jeffrey Epstein, is being talked about. If you, we all know about that now. All these things are being uncovered by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai through the prophets. Showing that who you really are.
Yep.
And people are actually now seeing it, and so now that's where Obadiah comes back to that shame.
Yep.
Is covering you all over. You didn't think that this was ever going to be because your pride is so exalted, but the Lord is going to bring you low. Like those who exalted himself shall be abased. And this is what the Lord is doing to this nation as we speak. He's just showing these little snippets, these little videos, like Amawan used to say all the time. He's like, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
The larger parts we haven't even really uncovered. The Lord is just allowing us to see, but the angels of the Lord are the eyes of the Lord in every place, beholding the evil and the good. So though you've done things in secret, though you may have died and thought you gotten away with it, eventually the Lord is going to bring you back.
Yep.
The Lord, like you said, all those that pierced him, those who are here today, and those who have died and thinking that that they've gotten away with it, will be back to receive their judgment soon enough.
Yeah, just like he read, his ways are always grievous. Okay, what are his ways? That's his laws that cause grief. You get that in Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Okay? His ways are always grievous, just like our ways are the law, statutes, and the commandments. His way is on the left-hand side. Okay? To bring that harm to us, and like you said before, man, we got to go to them for justice, and with 9 times out of 10, we're not going to get it. The big one was the whole reparations thing. That went years and years and years and years until finally, for like Tulsa, Oklahoma, they finally struck it down. And after they struck it down, the last woman survivor passed away. So. Yeah. It is what it is.
Well, we'll finish the one scripture.
Yep.
Kind of back in Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Ezekiel 35:6. It says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou have not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
God. So, again, this Rodney King situation was, as you can see, a pursuit of blood.
Yeah.
15 minutes being beat. You have the manpower after 15 after first 5 to let's say 7 minutes, you understood that he had a gun or anything,
Yeah.
you could have then put the gun on him, told him to turn around, which could have prevented more damage to this man, fractures and brain damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so so then it's the video will call for people to see that okay, you were to be in that authority state, you've pushed forward the affliction of this man. I don't remember. Is it going to go? We'll read further. Let's go further.
Yeah,
into
well, I
it.
was going to say that 15 minutes. That's a long time, man. Elder Osh was just talking about, I think Friday, about he was boxing in 3 minutes. If you're not in shape, man,
Yeah.
that's a long time. And now that's just 2 people going at each other. Here you got 4 going against 1 man. So that 15 minutes was like an eternity. Could have been like an eternity. And again, they just don't stop, man.
Yeah.
All right, back to the article. It says the legal system's refusal to hold these officers accountable was not unique. The Los Angeles black community had already endured decades of racial discrimination, violence, and police brutality. But many community members found the outcome inexplicable given that the officers' conduct had been caught on camera. The same month that Rodney King was beaten, a Korean store owner in South Central Los Angeles,
I remember this.
Yep, shot and killed a 15-year-old black girl named Latasha Harlins after accusing her of trying to steal a bottle of orange juice. Latasha was clutching money when she was killed, but the store owner received only probation and a $500 fine. It says the verdict drew shock and anguish across the county, and members of the black community took to the streets in protests that lasted until May 4th, 1992.
And that's why none of you, and when we speak about all right, judgment coming to you, all of y'all are included, man. All right, Psalms 83, all y'all done had a hand in Israel's downfall at some point, man. All right, none of y'all are gonna get away with the things that you've done, man.
Yep.
All right, this is all the parable of Lazarus and a dog licking his sores, man. All right, y'all are a part of that. All you heathen nations, man. All right.
What's that? First Maccabees 2:10. Someone want to grab that?
I got it. This First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 10. It says, "What nation have not had a part of her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?" I'm gonna read up one. Verse 9. It says, "Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity," and that's what we were talking about. The Lord said that He would, round us up like a ball, and cast us, just roughly paraphrasing, away, and we were all tight. They call it tight packing, into ships and brought over here into the Americas, and we are the cargo. We say the precious cargo because the elect. Everyone had to go through, this transatlantic slave trade. Were the jewels of the Lord. What did Yahushua say? He said, "When I come to make up my jewels, He's going to bring it from all the places in which we're scattered. He's going to gather us. How were we scattered? Through the ships, mainly. All right, and it says, "Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men, with the sword of the enemy."
Wow.
Verse 10, it says, "What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?" So that Korean man shooting that 15-year-old girl over the juice, and she had money in her pocket, money in her hand, took part in the spoil, and to receive a $500 fine, and what was the other?
Probation.
And probation was a slap on the hand.
Yeah.
And again, he could very well be her servant or her husband's servant in the kingdom, and
I think it was
he would have to see her face again.
Yeah, I think it was a woman who shot her.
Was it a woman?
Yep.
Okay. Well, she, because our women in the kingdom will have servant women, servants, and she's gonna have to see her again.
Yep.
Yeah, precept.
Go ahead.
This is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 41. It says, "And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob." And that's the origins of Esau having that perpetual hatred for Jacob, man. That's why incidents like that beating that happened to Rodney King happened, man. Our people being lynched, burned. That all goes back to Esau Edom's perpetual hatred, man. He said one thing. I googled, can we all get along? Rodney King, and the AI overview says this: on May 1st, 1992, during the height of the violent Los Angeles riots, Rodney King made an emotional, impromptu plea for peace, asking people, "I just want to say, can we all get along? Can we all get along?" And the answer to that is no, man, because Esau Edom is going to have that perpetual hatred for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, and it all goes back to this account in Genesis chapter 27, man. Okay, because Esau has because Jacob has supplanted Esau of the birthright.
God.
And really, in the spirit, it was set up for Jacob to receive the birthright in the first place, man.
God.
And that's why Esau Edom he always forwards the affliction, for our people, man.
Yeah, it's not like we was talking about. Those other nations, man, had a hand, as we see in this article too. You get Psalms 83 points that out. That's all those nations. I know Brother Abawan like going to Ezekiel 25 a lot, but you go up there and start listing all those nations once again. There's going to be judgment for all those nations. Most of them are, parallel to the ones mentioned in Psalms 83.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they know our history, because when we keep bringing up the held forward affliction.
Yep.
We look Book of Judith when I forget his name, but one of the governors or
Achior.
speaking, he was like, look, if they continue to transgress against their power, Yahweh Shai said, if they continue to transgress against them, then the Lord is not going to be with them. So they know their they know our history. They know that we're the people of the book. It is evident that we are those people based off of the prophecies. Okay, that the Lord said that we would, the conditions in which we would be in the last days. We would not be rich. We would be at the bottom, and while at the bottom of all these nations, we would not have any ease. We will have they'll be wearing out the saints, right? Constant terror, upon our people. So again, one of the point, going back to the point, us not having our power allowed for Esau, which the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and all the nations who have collaborated with them, who have been in league with them, to eat and become rich. Where they talk about Lazarus and the rich man and the dogs eating the sores. I mean, not eating, Slovakia, licking the sores. They all benefited off us being put down. And what it tells us in Revelation, like these two nations, Jacob or Israel and help me out.
Judah.
Yeah, Judah and Israel. Like these two nations tormented them. So now it's like, now that they're low, they can now benefit. So if Esau is having the greatest riches with us being low, then of course he's going to want to continue to push forward whatever they can to keep us low. From deceiving, the us and knowing that we're the Israelites, the food in which we are to eat, the clothing that we put on our bodies, how we relate to each other as far as males and females, causing that division, sowing discord, the 7 abominations that are in Proverbs 6, and then also the air quality, the water, everything that is of nature that really connects the Israelites even closer to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. The freedom, the liberty, in our mind. We're always on a hamster wheel. We're waking up to working. There's always something that we have to do to keep our minds occupied on their system and not thinking about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai.
God, I had that count for you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
This is Judith. Get straight to the point. Chapter 5, verse 20. It says, "Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them." Verse 21. "But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before the world." It says, "When Achior had finished these sayings, all the people standing round about the tent murmured, and the chief man of Holofernes and all that dwelt by the seaside and in Moab spake that they should kill him." So,
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, yeah. Don't shoot the messenger. He's just telling you what's happening. And who was that? Even long before that, who was Rahab said, "We know the power, that your God has. We've heard of it. Lord Almighty, El Shaddai, demon-like terrible power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and there's like two things I see here, because it's like in today's time, like the last days, they have the same spirit that they're gonna think that they're gonna be able to, like I said, the devil will come with great wrath, Revelation 12:12, because going to the people of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is coming down unto you having great wrath, for you know it that he hath but a short time.
God.
And he's coming at, is going to be trying to get after the prophets, but again, those spirits that are created for vengeance, all this wickedness, that happened like in during the flood, all the wickedness that's happened during Noah's time, and the things that are happening now, all these vengeance, the spirits of vengeance, the thermonuclear missiles, the famine, and all these things are actually for the wicked, to their destruction, as the scripture has said. And so they're going to be trying to come after us, but there's the other part where he says they're going to be today's time, there's going to be an elect, that they're not going to be able to touch, because the Lord, the scriptures talk about, I have pardoned some, who he had forgiven the iniquities and the sins of an elect group. So it's going to be a lot that's going to be mowed down in those streets, 2/3, but it's going to be, 1/3 of the elect that will not see the judgment, that these other nations are going to see.
Right.
All right.
Finish up the article.
Okay.
It says,
How much? Yeah.
just one paragraph.
All right, and then last couple scriptures, whatever we'll get it.
It says, the protests echoed the unrest that broke out in Los Angeles Watts neighborhood in the summer of 1965. So this has been almost 30 years. This same stuff is going on. Okay. After police beat and arrested 2 young black men following a traffic stop. A commission convened to investigate the so-called Watts riots concluded that the unrest stemmed from black residents' dissatisfaction with policing, high rates of unemployment, and inadequate schools. Despite these conclusions, little changed in the decades that followed, as we saw here.
Yep.
That concludes the article.
All right. Grab.
I got a precept.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 25.
That's something.
And it says, "But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons." Okay, that's quite clear. No respect of persons. And Esau is quick to say, "Well, I wasn't there. That was my forefathers." No, he says, "Let the what's that? Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers." Okay. So, the Lord don't care. We were judged as a nation. You know, the curses tell us plain and clearly that those curses will be a sign and a wonder, you know, on the seed after those who the law was originally given to, which is us today. All right. And it's affected us all to this very day because of what our forefathers did. You know, that is not changed. The same way we got it, you're gonna get it too.
Well, and what they don't understand a lot of times, what they don't understand is that they are their forefathers. You know, like it tells the Exodus where it says, visiting the iniquities of the children of the fathers of the children to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. You know, of course, these laws were given to the Israelites, so we have to deal with it.
Yep.
But of course, eventually, the whole earth is going to be under the rule of thumb of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And so the curses falling upon our enemies. How would they do so? Because it's underneath the laws, the prophets, you know, spoken about that these things will actually come to pass in these laws. So of course, if you're transgressing and you're doing wickedly, there's a judgment that have to come, and the judgments are based off of the Heavenly Father's word. You know.
And to your point, you know, about eventually, you know, the laws of heaven will be the laws on earth. That's why we say the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
You know, on earth as it is in heaven.
Right.
All right. So that's going to happen.
Yep.
All right.
So with that, we hope that this lesson was edifying, uplifting, exhorting to the elect body of the true believers. Before we end, we'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. Until next time, all those listening and learning to you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.